Hello and welcome back to my channel. So I have done a few videos about my shopping hack, which is where I talk about how I attempt to protect myself from the manipulation of adverts. And the way that I do that is as soon as I begin to get an emotional response from an advert, I think, first of all, what is the emotional response that I'm getting from this advert? And second of all, how is it doing it? I pick it apart and I think, marketing is incredibly clever. What tricks are they employing to make me feel the way this advert is making me feel? This means that instead of the message just washing over me and me just believing whatever it is I'm told, I give myself that little bit of distance from the advert and enough space for me to think, what do I actually think? Is this a trick? Is this genuine? What's going on here? And that means that the message of the advert is generally less effective. So the two questions I'll ask myself is, what am I feeling and how is it making me feel this? And usually the way that adverts do this is by drawing upon some sort of feeling of inadequacy. So they'll usually show beautiful, popular, rich people promoting their products because they're kind of going with the assumption that you might be feeling somewhat inadequate in your beauty, popularity or richness, just as a general human being. And then they want you to draw some sort of association that if you buy that product, you will be beautiful, popular or rich, sort of by default, which obviously isn't how it works. We're talking very subconscious here, but that is how marketing is so successful. People usually feel inadequate, and if you can draw upon that to sell your products, you're going to do well. Now, I feel like I slag marketing off a lot, but I have so much respect for it. I think it is a genuine art form. I think in order to be good at marketing, you have to be so clever, and you have to know so much about psychology and the way that the human mind works, and I think it's a fascinating topic. But also, I don't like being told what to do, so stop trying to tell me what to do. So the thing I want to talk about is, a few days ago, I was in a shop and I got an emotional response from a product. And this doesn't usually happen. So I asked myself those same questions. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? The product in question was a notebook. Now, I usually do have a bit of a weakness for notebooks. I think a lot of us are, a lot of people who want to be organized or who associate notebooks with being organized have that same kind of, there's just something exciting and magical about a new notebook that, I don't know what it is, but they're great. But these weren't any ordinary notebooks. These were self-aware notebooks. These were notebooks that knew how I felt about notebooks and were playing on it. They were taking advantage of the fact that when I see a notebook, I think a brand new start. I think I can start my new project now that I have this notebook. All of those ridiculous and incorrect thoughts that I have regarding notebooks, and I'm very aware they're ridiculous and incorrect, this notebook knew. So this one says, big ideas have small beginnings, which is not untrue. That's kind of how growth works. So the problem that I have with this is that we are quite used to companies cashing in on our insecurities about the way we look, about our youth, about our status. This is very commonplace now. But here we have a product that is trying to cash in on our aspirations and our desire to live a better life. And I just don't like that. It took me so long, it took me so many years to understand that the reason that I really liked notebooks and that I really liked stationery is because I wanted to be someone who had projects on the go. I wanted to be someone who was organized, and I thought that I could somehow bypass that. If I bought the products that I associate with being organized, it would somehow make me organized, and that isn't how it works. And that is so true of so many things that I bought. I felt like I could bypass the hard work by making a purchase, but you cannot. There is no substitute for hard work at all. Buying a planner does not make you more organized, and buying new trainers does not make you fitter. But this is something that we've been told again and again and again in adverts, that if we make that purchase, then we buy with it this whole new life. But that's just not the case, and it takes learning that lesson to finally realize that it's all on you. You need to put the time in, and there is no substitution for it. And also, I'm not saying don't buy a new notebook. There's nothing wrong with buying a new notebook if you need a new notebook, but don't be fooled into thinking that you're getting anything more than just paper when you buy a notebook. That's all it is. This one says, your only limit is you, which is a rather reductive and unfair thing to say, but I'm assuming that they are intending for this to be inspiring, so we're just going to run with that for the moment. Another problem I have with companies cashing in on what is essentially just a dissatisfied generation is that if the user does not use it as they intended to, then that product is just going to sit there mocking them with these inspiring slogans. They're just going to be sitting around the house gathering dust and reminding them of that time where they thought that they were going to achieve something or, start that new project. And you can feel free to tell me that I'm reading too much into this, but I know that I'm not. I know our subconscious is so susceptible to any feelings of inadequacy, any feelings of anxiety, any sort of shortcoming. We are so primed to be aware of how we don't measure up as a society, I guess. And I'm someone who's benefited firsthand from getting rid of all of those things, so I know the difference that it can make. Things affect us subconsciously all the time. We don't even have to have noticed it's there, and we'll be affected by it. This is an interesting one. This is a folder that says, "It's a beautiful day to start." And it is. Every single day is. It's a very inspiring thought. It's a very inspiring folder. But this is something that I've been learning. So, the good feelings that we get from a rush of motivation and inspiration, and that feeling of like, oh my God, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to do this, and everything's going to be great, that intense burst is actually a burst of dopamine. And dopamine performs its tasks before we obtain rewards, meaning that its real job is to encourage us to act, either to achieve something good or to avoid something bad. That is something that I read in an article, a scientific article. So, you know, science and that. But essentially what it means is that they are drugging us by offering us this small token of motivation. We get this dopamine rush, and we get inspired to take action and to do something about it. And if drugging someone to buy something isn't manipulation, then I honestly don't know what it is. So here we have live more, worry less, which is a fine concept, but again, it's kind of targeted towards people who might be worried or essentially just vulnerable. Maybe someone's having a bit of a crap time. They see this notebook and they think, you know what, yes, I am going to live more and worry less. They buy it, they're £2 down, they think that they're going to change their lives, and what do you know, the lives are exactly the same, because that's not how life works. It's not fair, it's taking advantage. Then we've got just chill, we've got live every moment, hashtag positive vibes. This is all the same issue. It's taking advantage of people who want to improve their lives but haven't quite figured it out yet, and who think that maybe by spending this £2, you know, it's only £2, on a book or on some stationery, that they are going to get closer to their goal. If you need a new notebook, that is completely fine. I am not saying don't buy new notebooks, but you know, maybe just get a plain notebook that won't have a judgmental slogan on it. There is no shortcut to hard work. It takes time, it takes perseverance and consistency. And if any advert or if anyone of any product tries to convince you otherwise, then you are being lied to. This turned into a little bit of a rant, and I apologise, but I sound like I hate notebooks. I don't hate notebooks. If anything, I love notebooks. But I hate people being taken advantage of, and I really feel that this whole new branding thing is exactly that. I think it's a trick. I think it fools people into thinking that they've been given some sort of key to unlock their future with, and it ends up just being a notepad, or it ends up just being a pair of trainers, or ends up just being a dress. You know, there's so many things that are so important to being a happy human being that you cannot buy. But adverts work by trying to convince you that you can. So please try and remember that if ever you find yourself getting an emotional response from an advert or from a product, just question it and pick it apart. Try and work out what you're feeling. Why are you feeling that way? Is it genuine? Sometimes you might get a genuine feeling, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with seeing something incredibly beautiful that you love and thinking, you know, I think I would love to have this in my home. That's totally fine, but it has to be sort of an authentic, genuine connection. It can't be something like it can't be you being manipulated by whoever's created the project. I hope that made sense anyway, and I hope that was useful to someone. And also, I hope you're well, and please don't forget to subscribe if you're new, because it really helps my channel out, and also to like this video if you did like it, and also to follow me on my Instagram if you so wish. And I hope you are doing well. I will see you in my next video. I'll see you later. Goodbye.
Branded, your position, heartfelt, social condition, not bad, but I have it any other way. Day and night, it's not the same as being wrong, right? There is surely grace, but sometimes Sunday.